Hey there. What's going on, guys? Yes, I is here. Digital Silence is here. What's up, Mark? Who else just popped in? Oh, you know what? Where's Marty? Marty brought up a good point in real life last week to me. I hope that he's in here. Let's shoot Marty a message. Marty's working on our Delta 5 timers for Buffalo Multi-Rotor. We got a whole stack of them over there. Let's see if we can wake Marty up. Fender, what's up? Get on Twitch, Marty. Cool. All right. Who else in here? There's Marty. Awesome. Thanks, Marty. Marty, you like YouTube better than Twitch? I figured you as a Twitch person. You gotta have the Amazon Prime though, right? Otherwise you get commercials in Twitch. I think that's the case. I never know I've had Prime for a while, so I didn't even realize that was a thing. But yeah, I guess if you don't have Amazon Prime, they hit you with mid-roll ads every couple minutes or something like that. Amazon gotta get its money. All right. See where we're going today. I guess we'll pick up on the quad in just a little bit. I got some ideas for what we're gonna do on our live stream quad. Marty, since he's here, he brought up a good point to me a few days ago when we were pulling names for this thing, and we ended up with blackjack. Um, he said the obvious thing would have been the King of Hearts, and so I'm gonna say King of Hearts is what this frame has got to be. So one of the things that I'm gonna go back into is I change the spade here to a crown, right? So let's change the spade to a crown, and then let's see if we can get the heart integrated into the battery strap, and then I know I'll be happy. I kind of wanted to start soldering and building this thing on the bench today, but I don't have the 4-in-1 speed controllers yet. They didn't come in, so I ordered a couple different kinds. I physically wanted to kind of take a look at them and see what I like best for, as far as the layout goes. So I was what do I got? The Hobby Wing one coming. I'm interested in taking a look at that one. Um, so we'll see when that gets here. Next week we should have all the parts to put this thing together into our build. I think I've got, yeah, got everything else. So everything else is here. Just waiting on that tiny 4-in-1 speed controller with enough current draw so that we can really hammer on this thing with 4-inch props. I've the biggest I have is 12 amp 4-in-1 in stock, and that's not going to hold up to any kind of abuse. I mean, we could go easy on it and fly it, but I don't see the point in soldering the thing all up. We'll switch it out for one of the 25 amp or 28 amp speed controllers when they come in. And then I think for motors, I'm just going to pull the motors off of this guy here. Let's see. I've got my spare 4-inch that I started building. but I'll just pull these motors down. These are those DYS 1407s. They've been holding up great in my HTP, guys. This is my racer from last summer, my 4-inch quad. So super lightweight. I have 2 years ago would be this guy, 3-inch version of the same thing, and I think this is still, yeah, this is still frame number 1, and it held up. So I think there's I think finally at the end of the year it cracked in one spot, so I had to double up on screws in the one corner, but I don't know, beat it up pretty good and held up. So 3-inch, ran out of speed with the 3-inch, and so then I went to 4-inch, which my 4-inch quad's currently sitting over at the Boston track, but this is this backup. But I'm gonna pull the motors off of that one and throw the motors on the King of Hearts here. So Digital Silence is saying, are we way off on weight still? And if I remember, if we want to keep this in the 250 class that we're doing in Buffalo Multi-Rotor this year. I think we're over by like 25 grams. Let me pull up the evaluate tool and just double check. Yeah, so right now it's sitting at 272 grams, and that's without wires. So we're just a scooch over, but I also have this thing right now drawn up with a gigantic battery sitting on it. So if we trade this out for a more reasonable size battery, we should be underweight. I don't know if I have a battery drawn up that's lighter or not. Let me take a real quick peek in my no limit folder here and see if there is a like 850 battery, 2-cell, 3-cell, 4-cell. No, I think 4-cell 1000 is the smallest one that I've drawn. Yeah. I'd have to drop a new battery. And we could see, I'm sure that there's weight to be picked up on the battery. So this battery is clocking in at 133 grams. So I think Fender's been playing with battery weights recently, so he might know those off the top of his head. 133 is probably very high, right? I think there's 100-gram batteries that'll fly this quad for 2 minutes. And if that's the case, we shave 33 grams off. We're back under our 250-gram weight for our 250 class this summer. Matt Fender says the Pyro 4-cell 700s are 80 grams. So that would save 50 grams, and we'd be well under our cutoff. So I would say that we're not overweight. We're right on target, if that's the case. If you take that take the weight of that battery back out of there, this guy's pretty light, right? Where are we at? We're at 272. Oh, 272 minus the battery, so just the quad without the battery, 140. Not bad. Like I said, we got a little bit of copper to put back in there. You know, we got some wires and stuff like that, but most of these parts I kind of put in just a little bit overweight, so that kind of covers me for my my wire weights, and I usually come out pretty close to the real thing. I think Fender says that's probably about it for these things. Havlock's asking Fender, do you think the 700 will last 2 minutes? So Yeah, Havelock's wondering if 4 South 700 is going to get you the whole 2 minutes. Now, I think you could probably take up a small battery, and let's say you can't make it 2 minutes full throttle, but it flies really good. You could just play conservatively, especially with the OSD information that you could throw in your goggles, and you might be able to, run your heats really good. Yeah, Fender says no idea, but it'll depend on the track, right? So wide open tracks are gonna be real difficult. Where a super tight technical track, you could drop your battery way down and be a lot more aggressive inside of the turns, because you're not gonna be throwing all that weight around corners. Let me see if I can pull up overcharging your battery. Fender says people may be overcharging their battery in order to catch the 2 minutes, right? And then you just right, beat up your batteries for a couple races and then retire them. This track here, this is the regional track for this year, and that's gonna hammer batteries pretty good. I mean, we're gonna set this track up a couple times, so I'm sure we're gonna get to run the 250 class on it. And it's a 1,000-foot track, and the slalom, I don't know, slalom's gonna be hammered down, and this huge sweep before the finish line is gonna be full throttle the whole way. So that thing's gonna get your batteries toasty. But I have a Birdman track that I was working on. See if it'll open up. BA spec track. That's what I want. So I was working on a real simple track for summer safety Saturdays. And what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 gates, just like your UTTs, 5 gates and a whole bunch of pylon turns. And you've got one spot where it's going to, no, this is going to be just as bad on your batteries. Now I'm looking at it. It fits in a tight space, but it's close to 1,000 feet of track. It's like 970. So that track, maybe, I don't know. All right, so this track's gonna be tough on the batteries too. Start and finish. I don't remember where start finish is. The lower gate here, something like that. But anyhow, you come through the lower gate, make this hairpin, and you go out the slalom, and then you sweep back through the upper gate. And I don't know if you guys can tell. I'll try to rotate it nicely, but after you leave the slalom, you turn around and catch that high gate and sweep around to the other high gate, kind of make a diving hairpin, and then you got to do this zigzag set of pylons out here before coming back through the lower gate again. So I was working on a track design that'd be really easy to set up over at Nike Base quickly, with just a couple gates, right? So this over under that we'll build, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 things to stand up and a bunch of flags to stick out there, and so it should go up really quick. And then we just have to follow all the measurements. I got my dotted lines in my little printout, so walk the field, measure it out real quick. So I was looking for a track that kind of had everything and was super quick to set up. And the regionals, that's going to take a while to set this track up. I don't know. This is more like a hour and a half, 2 hour setup, it looks like. But it's a fun track. We got a couple more gates to build though. There's what are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9 gates, 9 gates and a hurdle, right? And a whole bunch of flags. So yeah, we got our work cut out. Smarky, what's up? Oh, Smarky's joined our chat. I'll have to show up late for that setup, Smarky says. So if everyone doesn't know, our regional qualifier for Rotor Stars is going to be down at the Cattaraugus County Airport in Olean. So we're taking over the whole airport for the weekend, kind of like we did last year, but last year was just a fun fly. This year it's going to be more of a fun fly. We're going to do our regional qualifiers. We're going to have like practice on Friday. We're going to have our official times on Saturday, and IB Crazy Alex Greaves is going to be joining us, and he's going to be running a spec wing race out across the runway as well at the same time that we're doing our qualifier. So there'll be a lot to do, and there'll be a lot of people down there. And I believe they're also bringing a car show out to the tarmac. So there's going to be a car show happening, and the Stars Fun Fly and their whole setup. The Stars will be cooking and stuff like that. So that's going to be 2 weeks after the Bando. That's July 6th and 7th. So don't miss that. That's the last qualifier before our region's finals. So we've got our qualifier, and then there's like 2 weeks off, and then it goes into the finals, which is going to be in New Jersey this year. Detroit is going to be in the in the other region next to us. Oh, Bender said it will be me and JT's dad. Bender and JT's dad doing all the setup again. Smarky's giving me double hits. Thanks, Smarky. That's right. No, I think everybody has been pretty good about lending a hand for either setup or takedown. I know some of the people that aren't there when we're setting up are giving me a hand when we're breaking down. So far, I don't have any complaints as like chapter organizer. I think everyone's been doing a pretty good job. We should all be pretty happy. Let's see what else going on here. Don't let Smarky fool you. Smarky's a behind the scenes helper. He gets a lot done. You guys might not know it, but he's got a lot going on. Digital Silence says he'll be in the chair supervising. We can get the leather couch out for you. It's in the trailer. Just like at the riot, pull the couch out, and Digital Silence, you can relax. Make sure that we're doing a good job, not making any mistakes. Maybe take the Mavic and put the Mavic up in the air just so you can keep an eye on everybody. Make sure the track looks right. I think that's a perfect job for you. What do I want to do? Oh, okay. Bando update. So, baby Bando. Anyways, so everyone's caught up. At Riverworks, the tiny whoop track that's going to be indoors, I'm building a scale version of Riverworks, and I'm putting it inside of Riverworks so that the big quads will be out playing on the big silos, and then the tiny whoops will be inside playing on the tiny silos. So it's going to Riverworks inside of a Riverworks, and I've got the SolidWorks mock-up. Mark and I, when we were down there like 2 years ago, I think, they asked us to inspect the roof while we had the Inspire down there. So I got a couple like detail pictures of the roof. So I was able to pull a bunch of the details of the top of the silo, and I also ran a survey with the Inspire the one day I was down there, just randomly, and so I've got the measurements for the for Riverworks as well. So I was able to actually come up with a 124 scale version of the silos, and I'll kind of bring you guys up to speed with where that's going. So here's just some video. Is that playing all right? Yeah. Let me see. Can I turn off my webcam? There we go. Okay. So anyways, here we are over at the old shop, and I've got 1/4" MDF loaded up in the CNC laser, and I'm cutting out the, I don't know, whatever the building is that sits on top of the 6-pack silos. The 6-pack silos is just a 12-inch cardboard tubes that are bolted together in the center, and then they're coated with deck restore that like textured acrylic paint. It's got lots of like sand in it. The kids were being ridiculous the other day, so I gave them both paintbrushes and put them to work painting the towers blue. All right, so we mixed up a quart of blue to match the towers down there, and they're going to town. Here we are a little bit later. I've got the roof attached to the top of the tubes. The roof, or yeah, I guess you call it a roof, right? The top, that's made out of just a signboard, like 1-inch signboard. It's a high density foam, and I just put that on there and ran the router around it to match the tubes. One of the goofy things is these cardboard tubes, every single one's a different diameter, so I had to cut it while it was in place so that it would match up. And that's got the that concrete textured paint on it as well. And here I'm just kind of marking for the roof vents that go on this guy. Those were printed out in like 2 pieces on the 3D printer. No support material. I've got that loaded up in SolidWorks and show you that. So we've got six of those roof vents on the top of the towers. There's like 1 vent for each tube, and then there's a tube on either side of that building as well. You can see there's some like aluminum patches on the top of the tower, and that is straight up just to make it look like the roof has been patched. There's a couple of the roof vents being printed on the printer. I got like 2 more to make. They are a little bit of CA. Pop the cap off of there. It was printed in 2 pieces. That way there's no support needed. And that way I can also paint the whole thing without having to, I don't know, get the airbrushes out and try to get paint into the inside of it. Nice and easy, just brush everything. So, I'm starting to see these, starting to put the details on this thing, so it's coming together. This will be at the Boston track tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to bring it over to the track. And here we are with the little house that sits on the roof of the silos. I got that glued up. That came off the laser today. The brick pattern is just the laser, the power turned way down and the speed turned way up. That way all it does is just it just engraves the surface of the wood. It doesn't cut all the way through. No, it looks a little goofy now, just because of all the wood and the the scorched edges and stuff like that from the laser. But once you throw paint on it, it should start to look like a cinder block building. And everything is to 124 scale, so those cinder blocks are the correct size. Just because I can. Saturdays I get down there around 3 o'clock, and I tell people it's 4 o'clock is like a safe time to start showing up. So the baby bando silo is I'm gonna drag that over there tomorrow, and then I've got a movie premiere that we're going to at noon. Um, it's two movies back to back that we shot footage for, and I made props for the one as well. So I have not seen my props on the screen yet for this movie, and so I'm excited to check that out. I think it's free actually, so it's in East Aurora at noon. So if anybody did want to go to that theater in East Aurora, look it up on Facebook. It's probably on my timeline or something, or just message me and I'll give you the info. But that's Saturday at noon. After I get out of that, then I'm gonna head over to the track and get back to work. That Smarky says that the square thing you made. Smarky, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Cube? That the square thing you made? I don't know if you knew about this thing. Oh yes, you're talking about the movie. Sorry. So disconnected from the chat. I'm sorry. So yeah, Sparky has seen the mold for one of the props in the movie, and it's a cube. Yep. Thanks, Sparky. Sorry. I totally lost myself there. So yeah, they're premiering that movie, and I haven't seen the thing up close on screen yet. So that's what it is. Smarky got to see the mold for one of the props because when we were just kind of I was showing Smarky how we were going to approach the canopy pods for the Raggy frames, and so I dug out some of my old parts and molds and stuff like that, and we were going through and looking at that stuff. Looked at a couple tools that were machined and stuff. So he's seen a little bit of it, but I don't know, the one prop that I'm excited to see I haven't shown anybody. What am I doing here? Oh, I just have some little sticks of styrene that I've had for who knows how long. They came from Niagara Hobby, so it's at least it's been at least a few years. Smarky says Tom was blown away by the pod. Awesome. That's good to hear. If he's only used to handling the 3D printed stuff, yeah, it should be a nice surprise. I mean, it fits. Doing that, the urethane tools kind of fits that in between spot of, you're not banging them out in injection molding them, because then you're talking tens of thousands. At least with the urethane casting, hundreds is like not too bad. And you're not spending 10 grand on a tool. So let's see, trimming up the roof. All I'm trying to do here is just hide the fact that this is all made out of 1/4-inch MDF. So just by adding little transitions and little details, a lip here, a gutter, whatever, the little lines for the bricks and stuff like that, it's just ways to break up that MDF so that when it's finished, it's a little bit more convincing and doesn't look like we slapped it together out of cardboard or something like that. And nothing here is like devastatingly hard or slow. It's all pretty quick. I'm just like trimming these little pieces of styrene with an X-Acto knife and putting them down with some CA glue, with some super glue, so it moves along pretty quickly. Same thing with the bricks. The sheets in the laser, and I hesitated, but then I said, what the heck? I said, going over, I'm running the laser. What is it to just let the laser cut the bricks out and be done with it. It took like an hour for the laser to get around and do all those marks, but I don't know. I think it adds a lot to it, so it's worth it. It took like 5 minutes to copy and paste all the lines in Illustrator, and the laser runs by itself. I don't go too far because every once in a while the laser starts on fire, but it's basically unattended, so I can go do other things while the laser's cooking away. There you can see some of my aluminum patches that are up on the roof there. The whole upper section gets painted white, so everything up here, the gray, it's all going to be painted white. And once we dump some white on here, like my little piece of aluminum and stuff are going to kind of look cool, kind of look like the roof has been repaired over time. But how long do I keep going? There should be a cut in here somewhere. I started putting some flashing on here too as well. Oh, I can fast forward. Okay, cool. All right, so there's my little squares of aluminum. They're just like 2-inch squares of aluminum foil that I cut out. There's some Mod Podge, which is just like, it's just paint with no pigment in it, like white glue basically. And I just have a little chip brush, and all you do is paint the. You know what? Now that I'm looking at this, don't they do this when they like highlight your hair or something like that? Mark, Digital Silence, you would know, right? Is this how they highlight your hair? There we go. So we just start smacking these things down, and that's going to hide the edges of the wood, and it's going to hide my little piece of styrene there. And you just wrap it around just like you were doing a sheet metal roof or whatever it happens to be. But once it's all done, I want all the wrinkles in the aluminum foil. That's what sells the look. And it's super easy. It just takes a couple seconds to glue these things down. Just hit the back side of it with a little bit of that glue, and then push them down. And I think you'll see in the later video when we put a little bit of weathering on the building after I finish painting it white, that the weathering is going to pick up the edges of all those little pieces of aluminum, and it's going to sell the whole look. And we'll see how well I do if we snap a couple pictures and see how believable the pictures are when we're done. Havlock says, seem to be getting good reviews online on the pods. They look really nice. That's cool. Just a couple seconds. Yeah, Smarky. Smarky says just a couple seconds, right? I don't know. Time it. How long does it take me to put that aluminum down? I'm not saying the whole entire roof. I'm just saying, it just takes a couple seconds to put each square down. I don't know. What do you in about an hour you got the 3 roofs done on this thing. Big deal. Smarky says pre-orders already. Awesome. That's good. Good to know that all that work was for something. We do have our new mold. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to open that mold on the live stream in case anything goes sideways on it, but maybe I'll just no, it's just a box. It's not even anything to show you. But anyways, we have another mold sitting over there. I don't know if Smarky wants to say anything about that mold, or if you want me to say anything about it, or just shut up and let it sit over there. So I don't know. Take a look at that roof and see how it's coming together. You see, I run the pieces of foil right up the wall, just like flashing. Yeah, it's kind of gonna be like, it'll look like a rubber roof or a metal roof when it's done. Hides all the glue, hides all the Hides all the crap in there. Smarky, gotta go pick up my kid. Cool. I will catch you tomorrow. We got some more bando work to do, Smarky and I. And then hopefully you can stop out to the Boston track as well. That'd be cool. Thanks for popping in, Smarky. See ya. All right, let's see. Fast forward a little bit. Lots to do here. So, yep. There she goes. Oh, there we go. On to stage something. Stage 8, 9. So, throwing some paint. Just some flat white acrylic exterior paint. Super cheap. And the idea is that you want it to fill those lines in between the bricks, and as it dries it'll shrink up and it'll give you that look, just like mortar. You know, the lines will not be quite as aggressive as they are off of the laser. Off the laser they're a little too sharp, a little too clean looking, but once you start packing them with paint like this, you know, putting the paint on nice and heavy and letting it shrink, it shrinks up while it dries, and it should look like a whitewashed cinder block wall when it's done. As long as somebody knows what they're doing here. I don't know. So there she goes. Almost there. Wrap it up tomorrow. The building on the top is removable, and then the center roof on the second floor is also removable. So we can stuff like LED lights on the inside of this thing and make it look cool. There we are. So I'm hiding all that aluminum work, just covering it with paint. But while it's still wet, you can kind of run your finger over it like that, and it reveals the edges of the aluminum and stuff like that, and kind of, you know, helps to sell the look. So that's that. So baby bando, you guys can come out to the track and check that out this weekend. We'll have it set up. We'll put some lights on it. Put some lights inside of it. I think you can get a tiny whoop through one of the doors in the top as well. I think maybe we'll have to have some like Benny Mac bonus points if anybody can fly their whoop into the you have to go in and come back out. So you can't just slam in through the door. I think if you can go inside the building, turn around, and then come back out to open it, you gotta get some kind of extra bonus points. Like a Joker lane or something like that. Stick a timer in there. Let's see. We want to turn this into a crown, right? I hope I'm not hurting anyone's feelings with we're going to change the name from Blackjack to King of Hearts. I just think Cram Knit Ram, he was right that this is clearly the King of Hearts frame. So I'm just going to open this up and take that spade off of there, even though that's a beautifully drawn spade. Let's actually, you know what? I'll just suppress it. And that way it's still there if I ever want to go back to it. Okay, over. Here's what we're going to do in order to get that that crown on there. I'm going to take these two, select these two parts and isolate them. That's going to hide all the other parts. And I'm going to edit the top plate and make everything see-through. Okay, and I'm going to insert a cut, and I'm going to select a loop. That's the crown, and I will transfer it up to my plate. See that? We've kind of projected it up onto our plate. And the last thing is it's not in the right spot. but it's the right shape. So last thing I will do is just to move this guy. Let's see, not that way. Up, 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 down, down, there. That's probably it. And then I'm going to extrude all the way through our material. There we go. Crown transferred. Nice and easy. Exit isolate. Back to there. Perfect. Crown shows right up. And I think that we gotta like put the heart into our like TPU part. In fact, what I was thinking maybe we should do is, instead of setting this up as a TPU part, how's this guy gonna print? Maybe we print it this side down, right? Print it standing up like this, with all of our layers going horizontal like that. But then this is going to need support. That face in there would need support, and that's going to stink to do. I think I'd love to get this thing where we don't have to have support. My other thought was to make a tool, a hard tool, and cast this out of urethane and show the process of doing the hard tooling. But I haven't looked at this since the last live stream, so I'm looking at it now, and I'm trying to think of just how difficult it would be to do the hard tooling, and it looks like it would be a tough one. It would be multiple parts, wouldn't it? It would be one, two, three. It would be at least a three-piece tool. I think we could do it though, right? I think this, well, the Havelock says, can you make it in 2 pieces? And the part itself, I don't think we can do in 2 pieces. Just because it's going to be, and it's got some work to do in order to hold the top plate in position. So I think it's got to be a pretty good solid part. I'd like to show doing some hard tooling. So we'll like run it on the CNC and then take a casting off of the hard tool. Well, one, we got to transfer the heart to this thing, right? So let's see if we can transfer this. I'm gonna make myself a new plane in order to draw from, and it doesn't have to be that high up in there. There. So I got a new plane. I'm gonna draw a sketch on there for the heart. Can we transfer the heart like we did the other one? Why not, right? Sure. Let's save this. Hop over to our assembly and we'll transfer the heart just like we did for the crown. Uh-oh. Come on, SolidWorks. You can do it. Oh, whew. She came back. All right. I was getting nervous there. Felt like a crash coming on. I'm going to hit that save button. Okay, cool. We saved. All right, so we're going to edit this part and find that plane that we created, and I'm going to make a sketch on that plane. And I did not isolate these, so not too bad. There she is. Select the loop. That one. Hit that button there. Transfer it. And she's transferred. Okay, so I'm done editing that part. I can go back, open this, and work on that. So edit that sketch. And we're going to move it up into a better spot here. Up. Something like that. Ooh. My fingers got ahead of my brain. I did not accept the changes. Yes, I would like to move it, and okay. I think if I choose a surface, can I choose this? Perfect. Awesome. All right. 1mm in. Fantastic. Perfect. I selected that curved surface and it matched the curve. I just took it a little deeper. That's exactly what I want. We probably want that surface to have some draft as well, and that I'm not sure exactly how to treat some sort of draft. Oh, let's experiment. Draft is when the walls are angled, and that makes it easier for, if you're 3D printing, it makes the parts easier to print. Um, if you're printing it at an angle, like let's say we're printing it vertically, if you put draft on these walls, if you angle these walls, you're more likely to have a successful print without support material. Let me see if we can come up with a way to add a little bit of draft without this thing getting crazy. I'm going to try to attach. A draft needs a like a reference plane to start from, so I'm going to attach a plane this point, and that's about the lowest point of the heart. Not quite, but I might do. Okay, so I'm going to start my draft from that plane and see what the heck it does. I want to select all these guys. Okay, so there's my faces, and if we do like a 5-degree draft, what happens? Ooh, it worked. Look at that. Excellent. I was given that a 50-50 chance of working, so I think 5-degree, we can actually increase that more since it's functioning properly, like 15, 25. You can see how that wall is starting to open up like that. Ooh, it is creating something a little goofy right there. Oh, that's our fillet disappearing. I see what's happening there. It's probably decent, right? That's decent. I'd just like to soften this edge here for our battery strap's sake. There we go. Save that and take a look at that in the assembly here. Cool. So now we've transferred our King of Hearts all the way to the top of the stack. Now I think this quad is starting to make sense. Havelock. Havelock's accessory was gone for a few. Isn't that going to get covered up by this battery strap? It is going to get covered up by the battery strap, yes. But I'm so sad that our original heart is like so buried. It's so buried in there. And so at least I think we have a little bit more presentation. I think what we'll have to do is we'll have to get custom battery straps made with a King of Hearts graphic, like repeated all the way down the battery strap. That'll complete the whole look. Who's on that? Somebody get on that. Okay, we don't need any like. I think we need any little caps under our motors because we're bottom mount battery. Do we need any like TPU? Ooh, that would be a good one. We could do a hard tool demonstration for that. That'll work. I know what we're gonna do here. Let's take. I want to make like our our vibration mount, right? So our like soft mount, it'll do two things. It's going to be a soft mount, but it's also going to give us padding on these corners, right? We have these little fingers sticking out in order to protect the motor from impact. You know, hopefully, what you're hoping for is this little finger to hit the wall before your bell housing hits, and half the time it'll save you. The other half of the time you're going, you know, balls out, and your motor's gonna be done. But anyways, when you're putzing around like, you know, like digital silence, you know, you're just gonna like ding that little finger, and that way you won't force the Birdman to replace your motors after every race. Okay, so let me find my root motor. I'm seeing if chat's paying attention. Let's see, where's my root motor? That one. Okay. When I say what my root motor or seed motor, these motors are attached to the frame as a pattern, right? They're part of a pattern. So I was just looking for the top level motor that is driving the pattern. That is this guy here. So I'm going to delete this mate, this part mate. And let's see, I'm going to fix the frame. Okay, so now the motor used to be what everything was based off of. Now I have fixed the frame, so it cannot move, and everything will be referenced off of the frame. When we were early on, when we were designing the quad, we kind of put the motor where we want it and then design from there. So now we're further along, I'm just kind of reversing that. And let's see, I've still got more mates holding this in place. Let's see what else is holding me down here. Concentric, coincident, that one. Okay. Are we free now? We're free. Fly away. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. We use our like new casting technique that we've learned with our friend Smarky here, and rather than doing a 3D print like we did with the pod, so the Raggy pod, we started with a 3D print, and then we sanded and primed the 3D print, and made a silicone mold off of the 3D print. We'll show an alternative method of making a part. Instead of using the 3D printer, what we'll do is we'll set up on the CNC. We'll make a little cavity into a piece of you know, aluminum or something, and that's what we'll use as our mold instead of a 3D print. So I'm going to set up a new part in here. Assembly, new part, and I just kind of generically attach it to the front plane, and we're editing on the front plane, so I have to bail out of that sketch and switch to top plane, and we have to extrude our new part here, and I want it to follow the shape of the frame here. So I'm just going to go around and select the curves that I want to keep and transfer over to our new part. So that's those. Convert. Okay, so I've transferred those over to our new part. So I can exit that sketch. I don't want to do anything yet. I just want to exit the sketch. Thank you. And we'll pop over into this new part that we've created. Okay, so there's our sketch, just hanging out in space. So we're going to dive in and kind of clean up. I'm going to take this point and anchor it for now, and that's what we're going to reference this whole part off of. Start locking things in here. Those, can we delete those? No. Take this back. We're gonna start another sketch. That's how we'll do it. Okay, so I started a new sketch. I'm going to select that chain. Yep. Copy it. Now I can edit without destroying the original. So I'm gonna delete these two little guys here. Delete that, and I'm gonna bring this arc all the way around, attach it back there. Okay. That gives me my base, good base to start with, and I want to keep these two little curves here because I'm going to need to use those to make a cut later. That's why I've left those. But that's good for now. So I'm going to extrude this guy. Here's what I want to do. I don't want to make the little pad yet. I want to go the opposite direction. I want to go down. And remember, we've got a 4mm thick frame. So I'm going to make that 4mm. And I'm going to make this a thin feature. Okay, you see what that did? Now I am extruding this like a tube, a profile. And let's say this is 2mm thick. Yeah, okay. So now you see how we're going to create a bumper on our arms here. So I'm going to, should I accept that like it is? No, I don't think that's fancy enough. Clearly not fancy enough for me. I'm gonna do two sketches. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna offset that by 2mm. I have to change my units because we're in inches. Bear with me as I change units to millimeters. There we go. Okay, I did not intend to make that construction. Okay, so that's that. Take these with me too. Yes. Let's offset those as well. Oh. Bad. Let's do this one operation like a smart person. 2mm of material. Okay, so that's cool. This is not cool. That keeps making that construction line. Okay, so from here, I want to deviate from what's there. I'm thinking like we can kind of create some sort of bumper that's going to absorb even more impact than what I was doing earlier. Make those tangent. Okay, so let's play around with this. What I'm thinking, if we like hollow this out in there, I think we make a cool little bumper, and we're gonna extend the finger a little bit, right? So we can kind of like that. What do you think? Is that dumb looking? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm happy with it yet, but whatever. Let's go with it. We'll walk down this road for a little bit, and if we don't like it, we back up. So I'm thinking we extrude that like that. Hide this sketch for a minute. That's our bumper. I'm gonna extrude some material in the other direction, so I'm gonna select that loop. What do I do? Select loop, convert it, extrude it. Like 1mm. Yeah, 1mm of material. Go. Okay, so that's our little vibration damping pad. And you can see now why I left those two curves there, because I need to make a cut for the arm to come through. So I'm just going to take and copy those lines in and make my cut from there. Just trimming. Okay, now I'm done trimming. I can make my cut. I'm going to cut up to that surface. Okay, there we go. So now that sketch. Whoop, not edit. Exit. Hide. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. There we go. And we have to punch our motor mount holes through there, etc., etc. But there we go. There's kind of the start of our little part. And then I'm thinking just for more impact resistance and weight savings, we like put some lightweight holes in here. So we do something like that. Okay, so now maybe, I don't know if you're with me or not, but like this little knobby up here would crush and take, oh, it would absorb all the energy before we like start, pushing on the carbon fiber that's underneath it. But the carbon fiber provides us like with some structure there, so it's not just flapping in the breeze. It's not too soft, not too hard, right? And then we can let's mention this. Let's say we want all these walls to be about like 2 millimeters thick. And so I also want to make an offset here of 2 millimeters. That's in the wrong direction. There we go. And I want to take that curve, that line, and offset it. I'll just kind of drag those lines out till they cross, and then use a little trimming tool to trim up. And we'll blow a hole through the whole stack, like so. Okay. Make it easier to see what's going on. And then we need to put our little fillets in the corner. Millimeter. That's gonna soak up a lot. No, not too bad. Okay. I don't know. Doesn't look like anything in particular, which is a little weird. Seems like it should be something fancy or something. That's okay though. Let's kind of chamfer these edges to make this whole thing pretty. That's too much. 0.5 millimeter. Oh, change the hole to a heart. We might have to draw another heart. Oh, I'm gonna be sick of drawing hearts and stuff like that. Let's chamfer these as well. Boom. Okay, nice and pretty. I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna draw the holes in context. Oh, we gotta make two. Ooh, we're gonna have to make two molds. One part doesn't fit all sides. This part will also fit on this back corner, but we have to make a symmetrical part over here. So we're gonna have to make two tools. Boy, I made a lot of work for myself. Sparky's back. Everything all taken care of there, buddy? Okay, let's save this before I get too carried away here. Save. Okay. Sparky, we're putting a little protection. Putting some little booties on our quad. We're gonna do some hard tooling with the urethane. So you're gonna have to help me out again. All right, what did I want to do? I want to isolate these. You said it, not me. Gotta have protection when you're flying. Edit this part. I've isolated it, so I'm only working on these two parts here. And I want to make a whole feature, and we're just gonna punch these holes through. So our M3 clearance holes, through all material. I'm getting carried away. I'm getting too many ideas are popping in my head right now. Too many ideas. How's this affect the weight? It's going to add weight. It's certainly not going to take any away. But we were checking earlier. What are these M2s? M2s, aren't they? I'm wondering, since we're making a urethane tool. Here's what my mind just. Here's where I went in my head. If we made a larger hole in the carbon fiber part and then took the urethane and went through the carbon fiber. Hello. Thank you. And went through the carbon fiber, that we could actually isolate the vibration the correct way. So when the screws, like let's say we take and make this like a an M6 hole in the carbon fiber, and then we run a 6 millimeter like standoff that's like integrated into our little boot here through that hole, that when you assemble this whole thing, there won't be screws touching carbon fiber anywhere. But I think that might not be a big deal anymore, because these flight controllers seem to handle vibrations. Between the flight controllers and the latest firmware, vibrations don't seem to be such a big issue as they were like 2 years ago. Hi, can you get out of my live stream for me? Can you move along? No? I'm just gonna chill here. Your tail is like on my thing, so I can't touch my buttons. Thank you. All right. Oh, I'm distracted. So those are M2s. They're supposed to be. Change this. Size M2. There we go. That's right. And then we kind of have to bring that hole through, don't we? Let's go back to our like wireframe X-ray view or whatever, and just grab this, transfer it over, make a cut, and go through the whole thing. So, alrighty, that should work. Let's kind of take a look at the way these motors are designed. Yeah, that should work just fine. Ooh. Get out of that part. Isolate the rest of these parts back, and let's attach the motor onto our little urethane part there. Oh, she's moving. That's what we want to do. And this still is not fully anchored, so let's take these screw holes, and get that thing buttoned down. Okay, now it can't move. Can't move. Perfect. All right, let's save that. Okay, you're just gonna chill here. That's how I move you. There we go. Save this guy. Okay. Let's see. What else are we gonna have to do? We gotta give ourselves a little move along. The old expression, quarter inch doesn't fit in quarter inch. So right now this part fit super snug, right? I've used the same line as the arm in order to make that cut. And that's not going to work in real life. So what I want to do is make a give myself a little offset on these walls here, so that we can actually push this part onto the arm with a reasonable amount of force. So take and copy the base sketch here with a offset of like 1/10 of a millimeter or something. Why doesn't it like it? requires something. I don't know. What do you require? I have to do this button first. And this button? Yep, okay. 1/10 of a millimeter. 1/10 of a millimeter. Doesn't sound like much, but it's going to be a world of difference when we get this part made in real life. And I'm going to just make this cut go up to a surface. That surface. Alright, that's going to give me just a little bit of wiggle room. So when we pop back over here to our assembly, I've got a little bit of an air gap between my two parts. So when it comes to the real world, that part should push on there with ease. And to answer Smarky's question in the chat, how much are we talking here? Right now, what are we? 1.5 grams. But we don't have our material defined. So let's see. Let's edit the material and find something that's the correct weight. Let's look in plastics and see if there's anything like a urethane. If there is no urethane in here, SolidWorks is urethane. No, that's foam. Rigid, flexible rubber. Density 1 kilogram per meter cubed. Rubber. What's rubber? Butyl rubber. EPDM, natural rubber, neoprene. Oop, polyurethane rubber. That'll work. There she is. I'm just gonna get rid of that black color. Like that. Okay, perfect. I've defined a material, and let's see how that affected weight. 2 grams. We're about 2 grams times 4 motors. We're adding 8 grams apart. 8 grams of weight here for a little bit of motor protection. I think the biggest thing here is to be kind of demonstrating some of the processes. So I'm not too sad about the extra weight, and you can omit them if you would like. Don't have to use them, or you could just put them on the front and omit the ones on the back. Just be adding 4 grams. Okay, so how do we make our tool from this? Save this assembly. That'd be the kind of the last bit here. We're gonna pour a urethane part, and this is gonna be just a 2-piece mold, so a top and a bottom, nice and easy. Right now I don't have any draft on any of these walls. That could be an issue if we were to use a hard tool. But I think what we'll do is we'll use a hard tool in order to make our silicone mold, and then we'll mold this part from that softer silicone, and then then we can keep these vertical walls. The silicone will be soft enough to pull off of there without needing any draft. Or so I say right now, until I'm tearing silicone and okay, so what I gotta do is I gotta save this part, because right now this part is a virtual part. I have to save this thing down. What's the name of this thing? Our King of Hearts bumper? Corner something? What the heck are these things called? Booties? King of Heart booties. And I'm going to insert this part into a new assembly. Okay, there's my part in my new assembly. In my new assembly, I'm going to make the tool. So I'm creating a new part, and this is going to be my tooling material. What do I need to do here? Select my top plane, and let's say I load up a chunk of Ren shape or Raku tool, like a block of plastic. You know, I'm gonna load a block of plastic into the CNC machine, and we're gonna machine out a pocket that looks like this part. Now, how do I want to approach this? Nope, that's not what I want. In my new part, let me try it this way. Sorry, I'm thinking in my head and not sharing with you. So I want to actually mill the part out, but only half of it. So let's insert that part into a new part. Okay, yeah, that's how we'll do it. Okay, where's our stream? No, I want to insert part. Where the heck is it? There. Stream quad. Booties. There we go. Okay, so I inserted this guy into a new part, and I'm going to extrude from this surface here a base. That's going to be our block of material. So here's our block of material. Oh, how big of a piece do we need? Let's say a 3-inch square. That covers us. Yeah, that'll cover us. Wonderful. Kind of. I'm just eyeballing this up. Are you going? Cram Knit Ram's asking me if I'm going to make a tree and cast the whole set at the same time. Marty, why you got to be like this? You're right, though. You are right. I should make a tree. Boy, oh boy, we were making this difficult. Okay, so let's bail out of this. Actually, I can just complete this operation and come back to it later. Okay, so I need to mirror this several times to make a set. So let's make an array of these parts. Oh dear, I need a direction. Okay. Let's make a sketch. I need to tell SolidWorks what direction I want to make my array in. So I'll just give myself 2 little lines and go back in here. Okay, this direction and that direction. My feature, patterning this body, I want 2 of them in that direction and 2 of them in that direction. No, that's not what I want. What do I want? Nope. Nope. Yes, that's what I want. And then we'll mirror it. Okay. That's that. And let's take a new sketch. We need a line. I need a vertical line, please. Oh. Marty, chiming in, making my life more difficult. I appreciate it, Marty, because you're right. That would have been silly to just cast one booty at a time. That would have been a total waste. So now we're gonna mirror these. That's not a plane. I need a plane. Big plane. Plane. Oh. Now I can mirror these parts. Bodies to mirror. That one, that one. There we go. Okay. So when I pour this mold, I will get 4. Right? Sounds good. Looks okay. I could probably tuck them a little bit closer together, which means I just have to drag this sketch around. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna hide a couple of these things to make it cleaner. To see. Then we're gonna go back to our sketch here. Finish that up. So 3 inches by 3 inches. Not gonna cut it anymore. We're bigger now. We are that big. What's this gonna be? 5 inches by 5 inches. Cover us. There we go. Perfect. Okay, 5 inch by 5 inch, and where are we? Let's make this like an inch thick. Then I'm gonna make some walls here in order to contain our silicone. So I'm gonna extrude my walls up here. We're gonna use the thin feature in order to make the walls, and let's say these are like a 1/2 inch thick. Oop, that's not gonna work. 2.5. Yeah. No, that's 0.2. All right, that's a container for our silicone, and we pour the silicone into this box here. Let's see. That's an inch. This is an inch. Is that deep enough? That's plenty deep. There we go. So we'll load up a block of material into the CNC, and we're gonna go machine all that material away out of the block, leaving those 4 parts at the bottom. And once that is machined out like that, sorry, there we go. Once that's machined out like that, then we're going to take and we're going to remember to spray our release agent inside of this box, and then we'll fill it with silicone. That will give us our first half of our mold. And when you can see, you might note that I still have the chamfer on the back side of this part, but we're not actually going to machine that in. We'll take care of that on the second half of the mold. Yeah, don't forget the release. We may have forgot the release on the last thing we made. That's not going to be fun. There are some steps in this molding process that you absolutely cannot forget the release agent, or all you will have done is made a big block of plastic. You have to start over again. And it may have happened to me in the past. It may have happened on really expensive molds. Okay, so I gotta save this down. This is going to be our King of Heart booties tool A. All right, and let's export this file into something generic so that I could bring it into Mastercam. Gate and riser, Marty. The gate and riser I won't put in here. I will do that Um, I would do the gate and riser either by hand, with wax and plasticine, or I'll do it on the second half of the tool, because what I don't want to get into on this side is any kind of like 3D moves, right? I don't think I want to do any like crazy 3D machining on this. Unless you see a spot for unless you see a good spot for it, Marty. Point it out to me if you see like should I do the gate in the should I do the gates on this side? Should I leave some material there? I don't know. I think they're we do them on the other side. That's my thought. That's my thought right now. Save this as a step file. Okay. Let's pop back into that assembly that we made. Okay, here's our assembly. Here's our base part. I'm going to suppress that for a moment. Ball mill both sides? No. No, Marty. We're not going to ball mill both sides. No. We're going to try to make this nice and easy. I don't even know if I can get in there. I think I can get in there. And, I don't see anything impossible right now. Should be able to machine that. No problem. Gotta watch out for places where you can't get your cutter into. I think we're safe on here though. Oh, this is terrible because I'm like working up. Okay, I'm gonna show you what the silicone is gonna look like after we pour the silicone. So I'm going to quickly make a new part. New part on this face. And there. That. Okay, so this is me filling it up with silicone, and I'm gonna subtract the other part out. Okay, so I'm just left with silicone. And let's set our material. Material. Edit material. Okay, are we have silicone? We do. Silicone. Bye. I'm going to make this. Actually, that's probably not silicone rubber, is it? JT, what's going on, man? Long time no see, man. I can't wait. There's silicone rubber. I can't wait to get outside. I don't know about you. You got more racing in than a lot of us on the 5-inch stuff. Not all of us get to go to Florida and crush the rest of the nation's top pilots. Anyways, catch you up real quick. We're kind of working on our 4-inch King of Hearts quad that the stream has been helping me with. There it is. Right now we're working on like little integrated rubber corners. Like it's a little vibration mount and a little protection kind of built into the frame. Little option that we can add to this guy. So, little run through. Matt Fender says, JT, how did you practice for Sebring? Just the simulator? Back to our silicone part here. Open that up. There, that is going to be the big chunk of silicone that we would be left with after we pour it. And let's make it the right color. We got some pink silicone over here. So there we go. That'd be our silicone rubber piece. And Smarky will tell you there's a lot of measuring and weighing things. And so how we because we can weigh things in SolidWorks, when we go to try to figure out how much silicone to make in order to pour this mold, all we do is, because I have the actual model of the chunk of silicone, I come in to evaluate and I weigh it, and I can see that this is 0.94 pounds silicone. So we can put our cups on the scale and actually pour out a pound of silicone, and we'll be dead nuts on the money with it. You over mix your silicone by like 10 or 15% because you lose some material that sticks to the walls of your cup and on your stir sticks and stuff like that. So you go about 10% over, and you'll be right on the nose with it. So for this, we'd mix up just over a pound of silicone and pour our mold from that. And we can switch. We can take a look at what it would look like in kilograms if we were interested in kilograms. Let's see, cubic centimeters. So we can look. So 0.42 kilograms of silicone. We've been mixing in grams. So I just show you that. So that would be our chunk of silicone. Taking a look at this, I think that those should probably extend into the lower cavity. So Fender was asking what sim did JT use to practice for Sebring, and JT says he mainly used Velocidrone. And let's see, once he got to Florida, I flew at the beginning and end of every day at a nearby field to get used to my quads again. Well, I would say that it worked. I don't think anybody could disagree. Did a really good job down there. I'm popping back over here. Hide my silicone here. I think I want to extend those. Marty, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I need to make those kind of interlock with the other side of the tool, right? Make those just a touch deeper than the other ones. Maybe. Well, I guess, what are we? We got about a half hour left on our stream, so let's pop over. Yeah, let's see this assembly. This is our King of Hearts Booties tool assembly. And let's see, fire up Master Cam. Show how I think that we would cut this file here. Okay, so we're over in Master Cam. Okay. I'm gonna set up my machine, pull up my shop saver, and then I'm gonna import that tool. I'll go over to streaming folder, and I'm gonna find that King of Hammers tool. King of Hearts. Cannot find Parasol. Oh. I've selected the SolidWorks part. I did. I don't want the SolidWorks part. I want the step file. Step. That's the file I'm looking for. Okay. There she is. But it looks. Are we the right scale? Yeah. Okay. Lovely old program we have here. So there's our part in Mastercam. I have to orient it to the camera properly. Right now it's facing forwards, so I gotta get this thing facing up. And this is always a joy. I can never figure out which way you need to rotate these things. Move this thing 90 degrees. Oh, not that way. This way. Nope. Negative 90. And cross fingers. Top view. Ah, I got it right. Cool. Okay. I need to kind of define my origin for machining, and that origin is going to be the top surface of the material, lower left hand corner. So I'm going to select everything and move everything to the origin. Move to origin, and I'm going to pick the point right there. Okay, everything's going to slide over. Okay, so my first operation is going to be to remove a whole bunch of material here. So from the top plane, I'm going to make a pocket. And I'm going to use this path here, defining the shape of the pocket. That's there. And I'm going to select a nice big tool in order to clear all that material out nice and quick. So we would want, like, I don't know, a 1/2 inch, right? So we grab a 1/2 inch tool and we can plow all that material out super fast. I'm going to tell SolidWorks that we're working with carbide here. And there we go. So that bumped up my feed and speed rate, so we're running at like 90 something. With our spindle turned down to about 12K, 12,000 RPMs in the spindle. And then let's set up the pocket. So here we're doing climb milling, and we're just going to do a regular old pocket. And we're going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm not going to set up finish passes and stuff like that. Havelock can tell us all about the proper way of doing that. We're doing it the fly-by-night way. Zigzag. Let's do parallel spiral. So it's going to go around and around and around in circles to hog our material out. We're going to set up a step over. That's how far over the tool is going to move on each pass. And I think we're going to use more of like a high-speed way of doing things. So rather than taking a 75% step over, we're going to do like a 25% step over. We're going to take a shallow step over, but we're going to go deep. We're going to put a lot of depth at one time. Entry motion, helix, that's how we're going to enter the material. That's good. That's nice and easy on the machine. Finishing, no need to do any finishing. No need to do any kind of lead in, lead out. Depth cuts, I don't know. None? Let's do it in one shot, right? Okay, so retract. Retract is how high do we want to pull the bit out of the material. 1/4 inch, that's good. Feed plane, that's where we're going to start our entry into the material. 0.1 inches. That means like our helix is going to start 0.1 inches above the material. That's a little bit of a waste of time. I'm going to lower it down to 50 thou above the material. Top of stock. Top of stock is at 0. So when I go and set up this material, I'm going to touch off on the top of the material. That's going to be 0. Our depth. How deep do we want to make this pocket? I don't know. I'm going to click the depth button and I'm going to find like a point. That's how deep we're going. So we're gonna go 0.8, so almost a full inch deep. My machine is gonna hate doing this, but like Havelock says, Hagen, let it rip, right? Okay. Holy moly. Did I make my step over really ridiculously small? No, I did 20%, right? Well, let's see how long it takes to build this toolpath. I wonder if I made a mistake there. Is anyone else paying attention? I thought I set this for a 20% step over. If I put it in at like 2%, might be here for a while. Oh, mm, mm. I don't think that's what I wanted to do there. Holy passes. Yeah, that's not letting it rip. What'd I goof? Dive back in here. Roughing. Oh, I did 1/4%. Oh, bad, bad, bad. That's better. Let's rebuild that. Much better. Oh, yeehaw. There we go. All right, so what's that going to look like when we fire up the machine? That's what it's going to look like. I'm not simulating a correct amount of material here. Let me set up our stock. Our stock is 2 inches thick, and it's 5 inches by 5 inches. Okay, let's try that again. There she goes, blasting away that material. There's our big pocket there. Now we've got to go down a tool, right? So we've carved out a whole bunch of material. Now we got to go a little bit lower and define those parts there. So, boy, without the video card rendering, this thing's a little slow. Does the casting material shrink much? It does. It does shrink, but as we found out, yeah, Cramnit Ram's asking about the shrinkage. Every one of these steps, the parts are going to shrink. But what we noticed with the pod that we did, the shrinkage was extremely small. Like the combination of the parts being physically small and not generating a whole ton of heat during curing and stuff. We were like at a 0.5% of shrinkage. I'm not even gonna bother compensating for that. It's too small of a value. But you are right. You know, if the shrinkage was up like 1%, 2%, definitely have to compensate. We'd have to make this tool like 2% bigger, so that after we finish casting the silicone shrinks, and then we cast the urethane, and the urethane shrinks while it cures. That our part size is dead on. Like I said, I compensated like 2.5% on the very first pod that we did, and we were way over. It only shrank like a 0.5%, and so our final part was 2% too big. And the material was flexible enough for it to work, but we redid it and made the parts a better size. Just added like 0.5%, and now our parts are like dead on. Okay, next tool path. Next one, we're gonna do another pocket, but I'm gonna use a better, more modern tool path here. High speed machine. Let's see what our chain's gonna be here. That. Oh, she's a little bit slow. Okay. Back to 2D, high speed. Select an area, that area. Select anything? I don't know. Marty, let's go down here. Select area. Yes. Okay, toolpath. Dynamic area mill. Let's start with area mill. Okay, tool. We gotta step down a tool. Let's go quarter inch. We'll start with a quarter inch cutter. Quarter inch. I just edit this. Say that we're using carbide, and go maximum speed that our machine will allow. Okay. So we're defaulting to a feed rate of 92 and a spindle speed of 23,000. And our cut parameters, our step over. I'm going to leave these as our defaults. But here, I think we're going to leave some stock on the walls. So like 10 thou on the wall. And we'll come back and clean that up afterwards. No depth cuts needed. I don't even know if we need a helix, but I'll leave it there for now. Our depth. Let's find our depth. We're going down to the bottom. 1 inch deep. Should have remembered that from before. Okay, home position. Let's generate the toolpath and see what the heck we end up with. Oh, she didn't pick up the little guys there. Alright, we're going to have to add those in. Alright, so it chopped off my little parts. I'm going to go into the geometry and add some chains here. Oh boy. Old clicking around business. Ooh, yuck, this is messy. Oh, I see what the problem is. Sorry, add chain. I gotta use this lower path here. This is more fun in Fusion 360. But I'm just being an old fart and refusing to learn some new processes and tools here. There we go. Yeah, it's getting a little late. I'll speed this up. I'll just kind of concentrate on getting the one. Let's see. Let's regenerate this path and see if it's occluding that part now. There we go. Okay, so let's visualize what we've got now. Run this thing. Boop, boop, boop. Switch tools. That's going to come in. Clean up the rest. Oh, she's ever so slow. Oh, look at that. It's starting the helix all the way up there. That's no good. That is a waste of time on an expensive machine. Let's go back and edit that. That has to do with retract up there, feed plane, top of stock. Our top of stock has moved. The top of our stock is now down there. Let's regenerate and see if we cleaned up those helixes. There we go. Our helixes are much shorter now. Now we're not wasting all that time. I think we can make it a little bit quicker and take our feed plane down to half of what it was. Time is money. No reason to waste. Okay, let's see if we can visualize this. Hog it out with the half inch, change it over to 1/4 inch. And this is not the speed that the machine is going. This is the speed that my graphics card wants to render this at. I've got it fast guy button. That's about as fast as she wants to suffer right now. Hopefully we start plunging into material here. There we go. Starting to take a cut. About 10:51. I hear my 3D printer has stopped. Hopefully that's a good thing and not a bad thing. Got like 2 more vents for the roof of the bando printer. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow is finishing up the tower and getting it over to the Boston track. Digital Silence says we're going to be live streaming Ultra Miami from the Boston track all weekend. All right, so you can see how that's starting to clear out that other material there. I don't have the patience to wait that long. We got stuff to do here. Okay, so after I hog out that material, we left a little bit of stock on the walls here, so we're a little bit short. We haven't cut all the way up to that surface, so we add 1 more tool path in there. That's just going to be a contour, and we're going to chase that chain. Whoop. Yes. Chase this line around. And there. Okay. And so when we're hogging out all that material, we're running super fast. And because we're running fast, we're not going to get a really nice finish on the walls of our part. And the silicone is going to pick up whatever texture is left on that part. So if it's all chewed up from us going 1,000,000 miles an hour, it means every part that we make from here on out is going to be all chewed up. So like what we can do is like back off on the feed rate, cut the feed rate in half, and then we're going to leave 0 stock on the walls, right? We're going to go all the way to the finished part size, and we'll have lead in and lead out. That way we don't leave a mark where we pull the tool up. You'll see that the tool is going to gradually engage the part as it goes around, and then when it finishes, it's gradually going to pull away from the part rather than plunging right up against the part. Because what that'll do, that'll leave a line where we plunge. So I'm going to leave the that lead out on, and we have to set up our feed planes and things. Top of stock is down here, and our depth is a -inch. Our home position is 0. Okay, we're on the wrong side of the line, so let's change side and make sure that we're climbing. We're not climbing. Reverse. There, now we're climbing. Okay, where's my lead in and lead out? It's missing. Let's see if I can fix it. Start in a midpoint. Enter exit at midpoint. Contour. I don't think it's just a little example of what's going on. If I preview this, here's our cutter. Come down, it's going to plunge over there, and then it's going to roll into our part. That way we don't leave a mark on our part where we started and stopped. There she goes. Part. Cool. All right, well, it's almost 11 o'clock, and I think I'm going to call that enough for me. Got a lot of work to do in the morning. The gentleman that I'm going to see tomorrow, if you guys are in the stream, I'll see you guys in the morning. As for everybody else, thanks for hanging out with me, making parts. I think I'll catch up with you guys hopefully this weekend. Hopefully I see you at the Boston track. What's some other news? Our friend Jerry FPV. You guys remember Jerry? We're working on a race. Let me pull up our race here. So, Saturday, April 28th, we will be racing at Alfred State. All right. So, I'm going to be packing up the track and headed over to Alfred State for a little collegiate drone racing. That's Saturday, April 28th. So, I don't know. Hit up JT. You guys might want to come check that out. Well, I think that's it for me. See you guys. See you guys on the little track this weekend. All right. See you guys later.